Put that star on TV.
West Ascension Consolidated Drainage District Board meeting is called to order for January 5th, 2017. You mind all stand for the invocation? Dear Lord, we ask you to bless this great parish, this great state, and every board member and every individual is here today to have a successful trip back home safely. And oh Lord, bless all the armed forces service that serve this great country for the freedom we have here today. Amen. Play.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Ms. Baker, roll call. Everyone is present. Before we accept the minutes, Mr. Bill have a item he won't put on the agenda, so we'll do that right.
Yeah, I'd like to add drainage on 3120 in front of St. Jude. And if you will, could we put that after, in between 3 and 4, 3A?
You need a
Okay.
motion and a unanimous vote to
3120.
I'll make that move.
And I second that. Any objection on that? Unanimous, it goes on. Highway 30. Okay. Moving to item number 3, accepting the minutes for December 1st of 2016.
Motion.
All right. I second that. No objection to that. Motion for that be accepted. Moving on to item number 4.
3A.
Huh?
3A.
Oh, you moved that. I'll put it 4A. Okay. We're going to move on to 3A, Highway 3120 drainage issue, and that'll be Mr. Dawson.
What about, you want any public comment?
Well, I do have a public comment on that,
Okay.
and that'll be Mr. Antonio Graffi. Graffi. Okay, you may come up and stand up, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Anthony Grasaffi. I reside at 2353 St. Simon Place in St. Jude subdivision. And I've been in conversation with Mr. Bill Dawson over an issue that we're faced with. It seems like there are several under the 3120 culverts that is draining water out of the old Riverdale subdivision that is now coming, I think since CF has changed the area by putting a wall, this dam that they have, the water is just flooding to the road and is coming through and ending up on our side. I have video to show that it's unbelievable, the amount of water. I think there's more than one culvert. There's one further up and the water just coming across and it just coming, and what's happening is this water is eventually getting into the ditches and going into the subdivision. And we have people on the lower end that are really getting water in their homes and or in their yard. Just so scary that the water is going to come over their slabs. We would like for y'all to create a committee. Just a couple of people just to come out and visit with us so we can show you. We can't hardly show you when it's dry. You need to see when the water, I have the video that I can show you how the water is coming from the river road. It goes through the arc, it goes through that pasture, and it just keeps coming. And it's a rush. I know they did some work with a culvert on the backside. I know that, but there is also a drainage ditch on the front end. From what I remember, the subdivision was designed that half of the subdivision drains to the back, half drains to the front. Well, with this water coming across, it gets into our control, but then some of it continues on down, and then when it gets in front of Bernardo's, Then there's another culvert that brings it back across, which really doesn't make a lot of sense, except that we get caught up in the flow of the water. But like I said, to get back to it, really what we're asking for is just a committee to come out and visit with a few of us and let us each tell, because each one of us has a different situation that we would like to discuss. Now, Mr. Dawson, like I said, has been there, and I think he pretty well understands it, but I thought Mr. Bill Rue was...
Well, there he is.
Well, there he is.
That we can get someone to come and just look at the situation, because it's beginning, I think we're getting more and more rains for some reason, and we're faced with this. We've had 3 or 4 of them in a short period of time.
What I suggest we do, and again, we could meet, and we probably, that's no problem, but we'll initiate a work order, and we'll determine the drainage plan on that side of the road, and determine if we can redirect that water down the road to another location to cross over. Before we do that, again, we have to look at the drainage plan. The first thing we'll do is we'll see if there's any kind of drainage plan from CF when they did the construction. We'll pull any kind of information they have. If they don't have a significant amount of information, we'll send our surveyors out there to get some elevation shots and topo shots. And once we determine, and I'll tell you right now, without a doubt, if we can redirect that water, bypass the subdivision and send it across at another location where we can connect into that ditch to take it out without impacting the subdivision, we'll absolutely do it.
Well, I think if we can put some sort of a stop on those 2 culverts, then the water will stay on that side.
Well, that's
all the way down the road.
Exactly, and I hope that'll be the easiest way of doing it. But first thing we do, because the state is a highway, what we have to do is determine the plan and then get a permit from the Corps, from the DOTD, and they will accept, in most cases, accept our plan. And if we need to put another culvert further down and then stop up these culverts, that's no problem. We have to submit a plan to DOTD before they allow us to do anything. So we'll get started, put a work order in Monday and get started on that.
Because it's like we're draining pasture area into a...
And we have problems in St. Jude already.
Yeah.
We know the back end, we're supposed to be cleaning that ditch, we're supposed to got some issues inside the subdivision. So everything that we can keep out of the subdivision is absolutely necessary. So again, Ron is taking this information down, we generated a work order, and we'll get started on it next week.
Appreciate it, sir.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony. Thank you, Bill.
Bill, don't go too far, Bill.
I'd like to, I don't know, do you want us to make a motion, Bill, or do you need that? I'd just like to.
Not necessary, we got the
Okay.
work order, and, it's going to be
All right.
generated.
If you will, get Peggy the work order number.
Sure.
And we can put that on the agenda for the next few months and make sure that we follow up.
We should have
on it.
enough information to give I guess, a summary judgment on what we can do. We have to go, probably a little bit further than that to actually get the permit from DOTD for a drainage plan with, because we have to get the size of the culverts and all of this other information.
Bill, I want to piggyback on this a little bit. It's related, but it's not, maybe it's cousins rather than brothers and sisters. But the levee at the River Road right in front of CF is, the issue there that water runs off there, doesn't get in the ditch. On every place that there's access to the levee, the top of the levee, the water runs down there, puddles on the River Road, and it's a danger. It really is. I mean, it's in those. There are real sharp curves there. People are coming. It's raining, and I've almost done it myself several times. The water grabs you there. The water can be, I don't know. You guys experience it. It can be 6 or 8 inches deep. But is it possible that we could set up something with CF? I'm thinking if we have to get with CF on this, we can get with CF and ask them to divert that water off of those roads and get that in the ditches rather than having it run right down on Mississippi or on the River Road.
And on that, we have, well, actually 3, for the most part, 3 entities we have to consult. One is the levee district.
Right.
The other is DOTD with the road, and CF, for outfall away from the road, if that is something that is necessary. We'll generate a separate work order to look at this.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
And Ms. Peggy, if you don't mind, put that on our next agenda for update to keep keep the public, the status for what we're doing with that. Okay? All right. Moving on to item number 4, Lemannville Cut Off Bridge. Yeah, it's Ron. Ron, I mean, what?
Same deal. I attempted to talk to the manager, try to get somewhat of a time frame, and they're backed up pretty good.
Yeah, with the flood and everything. Now, I just want to make sure on this bridge, if we're still contacting with the state to make sure that they don't come down on us, because that bridge is one of them they want to say is not in the code.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what Ron is saying, with the flood and everything, we've got a lot of bridges that DOTD is actually shutting down. And so what takes priority is one that's shut down and redirects traffic to whatever. This is still a functioning bridge that's there. So again, apologize for it and everything. We wanted to do it last year, but we have to direct it to the ones that's actually being shut down.
Okay.
And a warning, I guess, or just bring it to mind that DOTD bridge inspection has started up again for our off-system bridge program in Ascension Parish. And I foresee some other bridges being shut down probably, mainly because of the flood and the damages caused when they go through their inspection. They don't give us a warning a lot of times. Most of the time it's maybe a 2-day warning. We're shutting it down in 2 days. So we'll try to get to it as soon as we can, but we have to take priority on the ones that actually shut down. So,
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dawson.
Also, I don't know if it's Ron, I had talked to Moose about that, but if we could put the asphalt back where we put the culvert across the Lemannville Cut Off Road, where we put the St. Jude culvert in.
I had talked to the pavement division. I think they have a machine now that they're talking about doing that for us. Mr. Box Carborough, I mentioned that to him, so they're getting their program started.
So what do you have like a work order for that, or how's
They would use the same
Okay.
one that they did to put the culverts in. We do have a work order in there for that.
Okay.
we'll try to get some, Ron will try to get some information on a potential timeline
Okay.
after he talks to the pavement division
Okay,
Monday.
great. Thank you.
Just see what we had on.
All right, no further questions. We can move on to item number 5. Bill, you're going too far, Bill. You're going too far.
The other bill.
All right, we're going to talk about the agreement with West Ascension Drainage in the city of Donaldsonville.
We really haven't had any contact, but we're ready.
Okay, well, I see a
We're
councilman
ready.
out there ready to set the meeting.
That's right. We had a lot of people off and a lot of things going on, but we're pretty much free anytime, Monday through Thursday.
Monday, work out the hours. We're gonna do it in the day.
Well, Monday we have a East Ascension Drainage Board meeting, Monday afternoon.
No, it's
Tuesday-
during the daytime though, huh?
No, we meet at 5:30.
At 5, okay.
But it doesn't have to be there.
Monday is taken, Monday night, and Tuesday night we got Transportation Committee meeting. So
We're gonna do it during the day.
during the day is a lot better for us. Early morning is usually the best for us, but it depends on when y'all can make it too.
You mentioned the time right now on Monday morning. You got it,
Now,
Mr.
Monday,
Today, let's do it at 9 o'clock one day next week, but I'll let you know the day.
let me know the day, we'll arrange our schedule to meet.
Okay.
No, especially if it's in the morning, I mean, I can arrange anything around the morning.
No, we got
But we do have some ideas, we've been kicking around some ideas how we can do a intergovernmental agreement where we get a benefit, a quid pro quo type of agreement where we get a benefit from you doing something for us, and we can provide services to you to make it equal. And I think it's a doable plan, and we'll talk about it. I don't want to talk about it in public right now, but we'll talk about it.
Okay, now this will be a public meeting. We'll have-
It'll be a public meeting, but
Yeah, it's just-
I don't want to talk in general right now until we sit down, we start discussing it back and forth.
Okay, well, let's shoot, let's pencil in 9 o'clock Thursday morning.
9 is fine for me.
Miss Peggy, can you make sure everyone get that notice? Me, Mr. Bill, Mr. Dawson, and
And just give us the
Mr.
location.
Moose, everyone up here to get that notice,
That's fine.
because once again, they're going to be probably a lengthy conference. Thursday at 9 o'clock.
And we did get a little bit of information for us. I think Mr. Dawson asked about how much money, and maybe you to
Yeah,
how
we
much
do
money
have
we're
those
spending,
numbers.
and Ron was able to generate off the data that we have. I think it's in, Ron, do you have it with you? I did
Yeah.
bring it. About $7,000. It's really fairly minimal on the data we have on what we actually did within the city limits. And mostly pump trucks, pumping out stuff and repairing, minor repairs and stuff. You want to
Yeah.
try to give them that and give a recount?
Sure.
Ron?
Yeah, I got 2 copies. First page is outside the city limits, that's the dollar totals, and then inside the second page.
I think when you look at, again, this is only the data we're able to generate out of work order system. Some of the stuff is just not there. But I think it's only in the 7% range of the total amount in and out of the parish when you combine the two. So it's okay, what we've been doing, but what I think the city is looking for us to expand our help, and that's what we're going to be meeting on, is actually to expand that
Expand
help.
it and understand what we can do and what we don't, what we cannot do, and how we can work
We
together
have
to
to spell
solve
it
that
out
problem.
immediate, yeah. We have to spell it out. Yeah, and again, we can, once we enter into an intergovernmental agreement, we come to terms and everything is set, we can provide a lot of services, I think. And it's a lot of things that you can do for us too, so. We're looking at things.
At least he's honest about it.
At least y'all could, at least put the laws and ordinance in force to help us.
Yeah.
All right, okay. And Bill, I know you're talking about this and you mentioned some numbers, but this is only for a short period of time that we have documented this.
That's documented through our work order
This year will
system.
be a true, hopefully this year will be a true documentation and what we're spending in drainage for work. And that's inside the city and outside the city. Okay, so we'll have a better side. Okay, all right, well, Ms. Peggy, you got those marching orders, and that's it. Bill, look like you're gonna be, oh, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
on
one
the,
more, Bill.
Extensive master plan.
All right, we're going to item number 6.
I was hoping to have something in front of you today. I looked at the draft. We had a lot of people off over the last month. I looked at a draft of what we're trying to do today, and I wasn't satisfied. I sent it back to the draftsman. Basically, I can tell you, we talked about it a little bit last night. Basically, we're going to identify on a map each individual drainage basin, okay? And it's going to be only that on each page. Identifying that being Napoleon Canal or whatever, McCall. And we'll have the tributaries named and numbered coming into it. So you can look at it and see exactly what's happening there. And we'll have some information about the size of these tributaries, the main bayou and the tributaries coming into it. Then we'll sit down and see how far you want to go with it for us. You know, you want to determine what's going to be included in our master plan as per the size of the tributary, or you might want to just say, look, these are what we're going to include all of this. For the most part, it's going through cane land, and it's pretty big ditches, a lot of them.
Right.
But they drain the upper end of the city. I mean, the city comes across the highway and drains into it, and everything drains away from Mississippi, and everything drains away from Bayou Lafourche.
Right.
You know, either way you're looking at it.
Well, and-
But at the next meeting, I guarantee I'll have it at the next meeting. Again, I looked at the draft, I wasn't satisfied with it, so
Okay.
we should have something by the next one.
All right, Bill, and then after that, we will have a public meeting with these maps, and we can have comments from the public before we...
Absolutely.
Okay?
We're gonna put that on the agenda for next month, right?
Yeah, it stays on, Ms. Peggy. That number 6 stays on, Ms. Peggy. All right. Item number 7 is St. James Assumption Drainage, Mr. Moose Pierce.
We, Bill Rue and I had a meeting that Bill requested, and I updated him on the project in St. James Drainage and Assumption and Ascension. And we subsequently, we drew up Mr. Parrington drew up a cooperative endeavor agreement to send to St. James Parish for the president to sign. As soon as we get that back, well, as soon as he signs that, the engineer, I spoke with the engineer today from T. Baker Smith that's on that project, And he said as soon as he gets a supplemental contract from St. James after they sign off on ours, he will proceed with the project and give us, Mr. Dawson had asked for, and you had asked for a schedule, and he will give us a schedule on the project with the hydraulics and the hydrology study and the implementation of the project. So that's done, and we are awaiting the signature from the parish president in St. James.
All right, Bill, you got a question? I got
Well,
one, too.
I'd just like, since we have the people from St. Jude here, could you just talk a little bit about how that affects them, you know, what we're talking about here?
Yeah, and basically, Mr. Pierce and I, we talked about it, the main problem with that channel is once it gets into St. James Parish. We all know that. They got a high ridge, you go through a ridge and makes a offset that's inhibiting the flow. What we propose to do, and the logical reasoning, is to allow and push and help St. James get their permit and do their work as much as we can. Once that happens, we need to wait until their job is done and their improvements are made. And then we'll come back to the table and we'll look and see that from where they left off up, how much we need to do. And we may see that, hey, it's really everything they did is draining and improving our system, and we don't have to worry about it. So it's no use getting out there doing unnecessary work when the main problem is in their parish. Once they do the work, we'll reevaluate what's happening in our parish. If we need to do something, we'll get a separate permit and go, or extension of their permit to do further work upstream, which is fairly easy to do. And it's a wait and see then.
Well, maybe for those that are not familiar, I mean, this is going to be the St. Jude Canal to run all the way from A Bend and then, into the Bayou Barrette, and that will all clear up and hopefully lower the levels in St. Jude, and then the canal drains A Bend.
Absolutely. That's the main channel that takes everything away from the river to jail, St. Jude, everything away, turns, go across 70, goes across, and goes into St. James Parish. The main problem is in St. James Parish. It's never been cleaned to anybody's memory, and that's where the clogs are.
And Bill, and both Bill, just to get the public to understand, the canal supposed to be about 6 foot deep, and really is at 0. It has no passage. And so the water is really diverting through the swamps and everything else, so that's slowing it up. And hopefully this project will solve that problem and move it a whole lot faster. But it is a major problem, and the Corps of Engineer, you have to check with the wetlands and permits and all that. So it has been a long, and I know it's people can't wait for it, but unfortunately, it's in another parish, and we trying to work with them the best we can to solve that problem.
Okay.
So, all right, Bill. Thank you. All right, moving on. Mr. Moose, you had any other thing on it? Okay. Item number 8, reports. Mr. Ron Savoy, you got anything?
We covered everything.
All right, moving on. Mr. Craig Anderson.
Oh, they cover everything. We did that cement bulkhead for Carroll Street, which you asked for, and we took the big cover out of T-Bow Drive to try to help the flow of the water on that end. That's what we did a little routine maintenance.
Right, and so far, I want to thank y'all for doing that. That's been a project, and it looked like we had a little rain, a pretty good rain, and they survived it.
Yeah.
Normally, that would be a phone call, and his house would have got some water. So we're just hoping this here stays that we can.
One thing to mention was that Napoleon culvert. It was designed to overtop, and we did ride out there, Craig and I, yesterday to go see it. It was overtop, so it did as designed.
Okay.
There was no difference in water on either side, and current was flowing over it. So we do have pictures of all of that if y'all would like to see it.
Okay.
It did as it was supposed to.
All right, well, okay. Sound good? All right, moving, and Mr. Anderson, you have anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, Mr. Moose Thomas. I'm sorry, Mr. Pierce, I'm sorry.
Thomas Moose.
All right. Moving to item number 9, date and time, the next meeting, Ms. Pagan? February 2nd. Okay. All right, and before we adjourn on that, I see the mayor of the city of Donaldsonville walked in, and I know he came in a little late, but Mayor, we discussed everything that you talking about the meeting and everything, so just to bring you up to speed, we're gonna meet with you and the council on Thursday of this next week at 9 o'clock, okay? All right. Then we move into item number 9.
Move to adjourn.
All right. I second that. Meeting adjourned.